Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Welcome to the Inner Compass. I am your host, William, founder and leader of You Initiative, Leading Beyond Limits. Life is a journey, it's full of twists, turns, and crossroads. And the question is, which direction is your compass pointing? Or is it swirling, leaving you unsure of your path? Here on the Inner Compass, we dive into what it takes to navigate life with purpose, clarity, and alignment. Together, we'll uncover what you truly want, explore the steps to get you there, and solve the problems that keep you stuck, all while staying true to your core values and your vision. This space, we realign, refocus, and reignite the power within you to thrive both in business and in your life. It's time to take control of your journey, align your inner compass, and lead a life that's intentional and impactful. Today, I have the honor and the privilege to have Amy Kahler with me today. She is a marriage coach and a mentor. She's a friend of mine, and she is in the body of Christ, a believer, and just as I am, as everybody knows. And everybody also understands that we are here to help people align with their purpose and get straight with God and live a fruitful life, and in this case, in marriages. And I can tell you, with not having a great marriage in your home, it's hard to have a good, thriving business. So, Amy, I'm glad to have you here today, and I really appreciate you so much. And you're important to my life, and somebody I love very much. And you really have a great message and a great course that you can share with people to help get them in alignment at home. So if you would take a moment and introduce yourself, and let's talk.
Thank you. Thank you, William. That whole intro just makes me want to jump on a trampoline or something. It's really, yeah. So, yes, we got married very, very young. My name's Amy Kahler, and I got married so young, and after a few years, we actually had three children in a matter of 4 years. So, we quickly had a house full and so much to do, like so many demands, all of that. And neither one of us had come from a home of great marriages. My home was one of broken marriage. His home, they were together, but not an example we wanted to follow. And so our course together was to, break a lot of generational cycles. That we've been cycle breakers. And so anyone out there, I don't know about you, but that can be a battle, right? Just changing those generational cycles can be a real battle. And I just found myself in hardship and heartache, and like feeling like my marriage wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I was at risk, I would say, of becoming a single mom of three, and that wasn't my desire. That wasn't my real hope, of course, in that commitment. And there was a day when literally this Bible verse, I felt like God just kind of came and slapped me with it. Just came and slapped me in the face. So,
He does that sometimes.
with this Bible verse, yeah. And so my my ministry service is called Building Wise Homes. And where that comes from is from this moment in this verse. And so the verse was Proverbs 14:1, which says, "The wise woman builds her home, and the foolish tears it down with her own hands." And I just, you know, went into a pool of a weeping mess, and just felt that deep conviction of, ugh, it just really hit me, that, it was very easy to be that foolish woman who could just tear down her household. That is just so easy. And when we are hurt as wives, that we are really vulnerable to that attack, and we are really vulnerable to becoming foolish and tearing it all down. And I saw that, God let me see that in myself. He revealed the truth to me and, really called me up. He called me to be the wise woman who builds my home. And that is now what I help women with. I've spent over 20 years leading studies and prayer groups with married Christian wives and moms. And so now I'm transferring a lot of that heart and, passion and experience to offer some of these services online. So,
Amy, I mean, you described probably about 70, 80% of homes at the moment. And as we've gone through many years of and decades of our lives, we've seen this has become more the norm of having single women and children trying to raise them at one time. And I think a lot of it has to do is we don't know how to forgive, and it's easy to tear down. It always has been easier to destroy than it is to build, and that's just the world. I mean, that's the sin we live in, and so it's a natural way. So what you're referring to is actually separating out the flesh from the spirit at this point and making a decision and standing for those particular things in the marriage that count. It is not easy. Like marriage, you're going to go through stuff, but you're committed. And I think this is a perfect example of what you just said and what you just said for other people is to get committed. Yeah, there are places that are dangerous and there's some things you need to get out of,
yeah,
but
right.
there's a whole lot worth working forward towards as well. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in because I know that 70% of the couples that actually learned and developed a mindset of praying daily over each other tend to have a great success rate of staying together and leading their lives together and leading children so they have a wholesome, secure spot to grow up in a way to understand what forgiveness is because they're the examples. We are the examples to the kids. They're going to
Mhm.
mimic what we do
Yeah,
and what we
absolutely.
need. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. That's important to me too because I've gone through a lot in my life as well with my
Mhm.
marriage. Yet we're still here and we're grounded in God. And I think that is the very essence of the marriage is being grounded in God.
Right.
Let Him lead the way.
Yes. That does obviously make it work so much better and so much
Mhm.
easier. And the prayer together is so incredibly powerful. And when I came to, I had actually been married for 9 years. And I had, I was a Christian that whole time. So, I was reading the books. I was, in his word, I was praying for help. I was, you know, listening to the Christian radio programs on marriage and family and, all of that stuff. And I'm not saying God didn't use it to help me because obviously in moments of time, those things did help me a lot. However, even after that many years, I was in a place of, not knowing how this was going to work. And so God brought a wonderful woman into my life to disciple me. And then I had the opportunity to take this, as it was at that, this particular class that I took was like a 9 month class, kind of like a college level course. And I did that. It's not currently being offered anymore. It's actually hasn't been offered in years in my area, but um, I did that and I saw God completely transform. So and even though at the time my husband wasn't praying with me, and even though at the time we weren't both rooted in God, like you're saying, like so I just want to encourage any woman out there who feels like, well, it's sometimes they can feel like it's impossible because they're already doing all the things to try. They've already tried all the things. They see their husband as one who isn't trying or isn't willing to try, isn't maybe rooted in God in that point of his life or praying with her or things like that. And I just want to encourage women out there who feel alone in that situation. God can transform and create absolute miracles with one willing heart. It's literally all we need
Absolutely.
is we need one willing heart, and God can transform that situation. And so, even if your husband is not on board with your efforts to make a better marriage in whatever way, whether it's, in the biblical, way with church or your faith or whatever, or it's, in some other way with counseling or what have you. Um, Even if he's not on board, you can still work on it yourself with God, and that can make an incredible difference. And in my course, our next one that is rolling out, we actually do it together. It starts January 17th. And you have weekly coursework that you do on your own. And then we come together once a week as a group to hear that week's lesson and to then, share what God is doing, what God is showing us, how maybe, you know, um, we get to just put into practice. We get to apply what we're learning. And then it's really powerful to hear the result of that in other people's lives. It's very, very encouraging. And so it's that kind of thing. I'm there to coach, hands-on, and help in whatever your unique situation is. And it's basically it takes about 9 to 12 weeks. We kind of allow for a little catch-up break every fourth week or so, because people are busy, right? So if you're afraid, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with something, actually we have time to catch up. So I make it, really simple and doable. And at the same time, we have each other to hold it accountable, to meet with each other weekly, to know that we're keeping up with it. And, it's like anything else, you get what you put into it. And in this course, I can guarantee that God will meet you. I mean, every woman who does this course, God will meet you in that study, because it's all biblical. It's all study in His Word. Um, the real transformation doesn't take place with the spoken lesson or anything from me, honestly. The real transformation takes place, with each woman by herself, doing that study, being in His Word and praying over those things as it pertains to her own marriage. So yeah, I'm really excited for because I know what it does. I know it can save marriages. And ultimately, we want to honor God, we want to bring Him glory. He is the one who created and designed marriage. And yet, obviously in our culture, we don't want to look to Him or His Word for the answers. And, obviously that's where the answers are. So I'm not the authority on that, God is the authority on that. That's why my course is literally for Christian women, because the Christian women are ones that are going to, see that authority and know His love, to receive that and be able to then take the wisdom that's there so we can use that to build, because we have all these tools available to us, and we can use these tools as our resources to build the homes that He has us to build. So again, we're leaving that legacy of love and commitment, and we can help the next generation, to grow up in the unity instead of the destruction, you know.
That totally needs to change. And this is one of the main reasons I'm out here, you're out here, and a lot of people I've met are out here. We're a part of a movement of change because we see the results of the division and the hate that's gone on in this world. And we see the chaos and the havoc and all the destruction on it. And I know your heart, like mine, is we want a place for our grandchildren's grandchildren to grow up and have peace and fulfillment in their life. Hey, Amy, tell me about that tool belt that you use, and I think you have in your prayer corner, because I think that's important for
Yeah.
everybody to see this, because it's a fantastic visualization. It's exactly of what needs to happen on a daily basis. I want that camera
Okay.
over there. Well, you can tell
Okay.
me.
All right. Yes. So my ministry is building wise homes. And this is a symbol over here, this tool belt hanging on the ladder shelf there. This is a symbol of the tools that us Christian women need to build our wise homes. This is a tool belt, of course, because we got to build. We have some building to do. And so in the tool belt, of course, is our Bible, is our prayer journal. There's a little cell phone in there to, connect you to your mentors, your technology, whatever it is. I've got priority cards in there as to what our priorities are as women of God, what our focus is and all of that. And I also like a little bit of essential oil. Frankincense is great for prayer time.
Mhm.
And those cloths you see there hanging on my tool belt are about the practical side of home. So I love everything about building a home, whether when it's spiritual, it's relational in our marriages, in upbringing our children, parenting, and also on the practical side of cleaning and cleaning in non-toxic ways so that we can detox on every level and just have healthier, happier homes on all sides. So.
Yeah, God has symbolism all through the Bible, and that's a perfect example of symbolism. You just inspired me to get my own tool belt out and knock the dust off and give it purpose again. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing. Everybody needs a tool belt because we
Everybody
we
needs a tool
build.
belt. Let's go
Yeah, we
build.
build. That's what we are. We're builders in Christ. I'm a Jewish carpenter, and I should know better too. Well, that's who I work for. But anyway, and I do carpentry. So that's fantastic. Kudos for that. And I just think that's exemplary of a way to be each day, to have an organization. Come sit down, get your tool belt out, and get ready and get at it. I love that, Amy. Thank you so
Right.
much for that. What an inspiration.
Thanks.
So, Amy, if I was a wife, now the power you're talking about happened with my wife. She prayed over me a lot. She forgave me a lot. And it was decades before I came around. And it was a major event that happened in my life where I lost my liver, that I recognized God for who God is, who's my dad now. I have a relationship, I don't have a religion. Uh, but she had not been that woman that made that decision that the marriage mattered, we wouldn't be together right now. It took her strength and her willingness and commitment to pray over me year after year and after year. Well, she has a godly man now on it. And we are making a difference in her life. We're enjoying our life. It is possible. It's not easy, but from what I hear, January 17th is your next course, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's day
And
one. They don't have to do any work before that. We just
okay,
meet the
good.
first time and then we start the work after.
All right. So if I was um, if I was your ideal person to come to you, tell me a little bit about that. So I'm having separation issues. I'm disconnected maybe from my husband. We're not centered in Christ the way we envision. What would that person be? What would that woman want to come and start with? Is having these problems, and then I'm looking from it, and what I hear is once we get into this, we have leadership availability, tools available that guide you through a path that gives you the resilience, the purpose, the clarity of vision of becoming a woman who builds a wise home.
Mhm.
And she is, I don't know if anybody's out there, but woman is the glue to the house. Always has, always will be. And there's the way God designed it.
That's right.
Okay, so and we get that out on the table now because that's just we have roles. All right, men give, women receive. We have specific rules. We are created equal. All right, we're partners. There's not one greater than the other, but there are specific order to things, and there's specific purpose to things that God purposed in our design. And if
Right.
we're not clear on that, how in the world can you build a wise home? I think so. If I'm lost like that, what would be somebody that you could actually transition, help get from point A to point B, and get them strengthened in God? Because that's really where we're going with this: is to become closer to God. For
Hmm.
we cast everything to Him, and we seek Him first in all things. And He's the one that strengthens us through these battles that we go through in life.
Hmm.
And this is just truth. I'm speaking from my own experience.
Right. Yeah, because you know the spiritual battle.
Yes,
And
I
that's the
do.
thing, because marriage, was created and designed by God, and because he has a purpose for it. The purpose is for others to see the love of Christ. All right, because the picture of our marriage, a husband and his wife, is the picture actually of God and the bride, God and uh, the body of Christ. And it's that picture. And so, guess what? There's an enemy. Guess what he
Imagine
wants
that.
to destroy? The enemy wants to destroy that, obviously. So, yes, there's a spiritual battle there. And that is why my course is called Victory in Marriage. All right. It's victory in marriage because there's a battle there. And, sometimes as Christian wives, we need other, wise sisters and mothers to help us gain what we need to have victory in that marriage. And so that's what this is about, is getting victory in marriage. And so if a Christian woman actually has a good marriage, and she's already even maybe learned a lot, and really is very fortunate in where she is with her marriage, she might love this course because it will give her clarity on God's purpose for her in that calling of marriage. She will learn deeper, that specific calling as a wife, what that spiritual calling is, to a woman from God our Father. And so she will love that part of it. And, she will be drawn closer to God because of, literally the study that we walk out, in those weeks. I can guarantee that if she does that, she will be closer to God and have that, there's a dignity, there's a purpose, there is a peace, and there is a joy in being centered in our callings and our purpose. And so, if you're a married woman, automatically you have a calling in this area as a wife. It's not your only calling, but it is a very, very, essential part of your calling if you're married. And so there's that. Now, the woman who really wants a better marriage. So, if you're a woman who really wants a better marriage, either you're really miserable, let's just take it there. Either you're just miserable or, some anywhere in between. All right.
Stuck, don't know
If
what to do. What's
Yeah,
next?
if you're
Mentorship.
if
Yeah.
there's difficulties there, if any of that, this is perfect. This is perfect, because I can tell you that before I started this kind of a study, um, I was a mom of three littles, and I felt very rejected. I felt like my love wasn't received. All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and crushed and just really hopeless. Okay. Even though I was a believer, I felt hopeless. And so if you're there, I get that. And I can tell you that within just a few months' time, so the course I started was in September. And I can tell you that by December of that year, my sweet husband was knocking on our front door. Now he lived here, okay? He lived here in the same house, but he was knocking on the front door as a surprise. Um, he could not wait to give me the Christmas gift that he got me. He had to knock on the door and surprise me with it before Christmas. And it was, I was a young mom of three little kids, and it was a leather jacket. And so it was just, super sweet. And so I'm just telling you a little example, a little story of how we went from, this is where I felt, very rejected. And I just didn't know how this was going to work, how things were going to be saved, how we were going to have a loving home and family that I dreamed of. That was my dream, to bring my children up in that kind of home. And I didn't know how that was going to happen. And after applying, you know, these truths to my daily life, to my walk, to my relationship, my communication with my husband, this was the transformation where he couldn't wait to gift me, something he had gone out, and done, and which was not really that characteristic of his personality, So God was at work, and we can have experience these amazing transformations. And I'm not saying everything was super easy, and after that, it's a constant. Something that we have to walk in love. We have to learn how to walk in love. We have to learn how to walk through the difficulties in walking in love. We have to learn that dreaded S word. There's an S word, and I'm not talking about sex. There's an
Well,
S
hopefully that's not dreaded, but
and there's such a huge misunderstanding about this S word that God brings up, and this is in my course. And yes, we also do talk about communication. We also do go to the sexual relationship, because of course, marriage includes every part of our intimacy. So we go
that is
all those ways.
fantastic. That's fantastic. If you don't mind me interjecting just right there, one of the key things that made a huge difference in mine and my wife's relationship was communication. Well, communication is speaking, but it's also understanding and hearing and listening and being quiet. But what do your words mean when you convey them to another? It's a great practice just to stop and say, what did you hear when I said this? What did you receive when I said this? Because
Mhm.
I can tell you from experience, from different personality types, I'll say one thing and it'll be received totally different by the other, and
Mhm.
vice versa.
Right.
And so we're using words, we're talking the same thing, but we're at odds at each other because we're not stopping to understand the definition of the word, what it is we're trying to convey. And so I found that a great spot to start is to ground in something that we can now understand as a word what we're saying to each other. I mean, I could say, pretty much anything. I will be talking, for me, for example, I'll be talking about engineering. My wife will be talking about nursing. And we could be talking about gravity, and gravity would be one way of gravity of the situation. I'll be talking about gravity in physics, for example. Okay, it's the same word, but different intent and delivery. And so it becomes very important. Well, let's start here. And I think that's part of your course, is it not, Amy? Let's start here at this point. And then also the other point I want to bring up is Titus 2:3-5. And it's about women mentoring younger women. It's biblically important. And I tell you from my life, the biggest regret I had was not having a mentor in my life at an early age. Honestly, the cost of not just the money, but the mental anguish, the suffering, everything could have been relieved by having a mentor like you, Amy. And that is your gift. That's your calling, is to right in the ship. That's exactly what I work on, as well as alignment and finding your core purpose, in aligning with your vision, and aligning with words that we speak to each other. How do we receive it? These are all critical, but we face blind spots. We don't see it. As you well know, we went through a leadership program together, and every one of us have a blind spot. Every one of us have difficulties, and every one of us have limiting beliefs. There are no exceptions. Well, how do you navigate? Well, find
Mhm.
somebody that has a gift and a purpose and a way of showing you, a guide, if you will, to navigate through these turbulent times. And that's you, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I felt very alone for so long without my women mentors, okay, those women who were there for me for so many years, for me, were actually like authors of books. And, they weren't personal to me. They were just, I was grateful for them because they were who I had, they were who God, you know, brought for me as a resource and providing for me. But I longed for that personal relationship, that pastor's wife or just that friend who is a real spiritual leader or whatever. And it took me a long time to find that, I will say. And so I just really I recognize and I can just have sympathy for like that, appreciation for that kind of longing. Wanting to have someone like that in your life is extremely powerful and helpful. And, God did provide that for me in the way of a person that I could actually talk to and know and everything. And that's really powerful. And I know sometimes things are so like personal or sensitive. Like sometimes it's even hard to find those people to turn to in your world because of the, privacy, matters,
Mhm.
to protect whatever, I mean, honestly, let's be honest. You could be married to the pastor. You could be married to the school principal. You could be married to, the mayor or whatever. And that you don't want to create some incredible, whatever. Like you just want to protect the privacy and not create some rumors and scandal or, whatever. And so I know that a lot of people just it's personal sometimes, with marriage situations. And so I hope that I can be that woman for some other women out there who, it is sensitive enough that you need it to be, a stranger across the country, or whatever, just not someone that, is someone that all of your people know and know all your people. So sometimes that's the kind of mentor and friend we need in life. And I know we're going to have to go soon. So
Yes.
I do want
Yeah.
to wrap this up and I want to offer you a quick win. All right. So
Love that.
yeah, it's a quick win. It's a free gift. And the free gift is called The Key to Peace in Relationships. Okay. The Key to Peace in Relationships. It is incredibly powerful, um, just a wisdom bomb for marriage, but even more than marriage. It can even be applied with your children. It can be applied with your church family. It can be applied with your people at work, your extended family. It's really incredible teaching that was shared with me years ago. It's from the mid 1900s. And I have a resource where I can send you that will lead you to an audio teaching on this and it's really can give you a quick win because it's a powerful transformation that can take place. We know that love cannot live in an environment of criticism. And
Mm.
whether you are the one with the critical spirit, let's be honest, or whether you feel criticized or insulted or put down a lot or whatever. If any of that's going on, this can be an incredible resource to you. And along with that, there's a bonus gift of a week-long daily Bible study on the same topic, just to help you go, that much deeper with, gaining some victory, gaining some ground in that area to give you a quick win. So I would love to offer that to your listeners, and I'll have a link I can share with you so they can access that.
Yeah, we'll post that in the description as we put this out, and yeah, definitely. Um, at the end of the day, we all want peace, we all want joy, we want fulfillment in our life. It's just a lot of times we get lost, and we can't see the forest through the trees, and we need help. I'll go back to having a mentor. And Amy, I mean, we're God's way works. It proves that it works. It's infallible in the Word. It's just we don't daily recommit and renew our minds every day. Remember what we're working for and our purpose. And it really takes having a mentor, somebody you can talk to. I look forward to talking to mine. It is just a great thing. Where two or more together. Shall you finish that?
There is power. There is power because he is in our midst, and he hears our prayers. And there's power in our agreement.
Absolutely. And he's not a deal breaker either. He's one you can count on. So everyone, I really appreciate the time together. Amy, any last comments before we sign off? And thank you today for being here. And I really encourage the audience to connect with Amy because it matters and you matter. And the sooner that we can straighten the ship and heal marriages and be leaders of our families, the sooner transformation will occur, and we'll see great effects in our communities, in our lives, and feel fulfilled because we are able to help other people. And we can't fill a glass if the pitcher's empty. We need to take care of ourselves and get filled up with God first.
Exactly. Yeah. And for me, that's always I got to pour out to him first because I get all the poison out of me so I can fill up with him. So I got
That's
to
it.
pour it out to empty enough to get filled with him. And that's a daily purpose, a daily walk. And I know as Christians, many of us right now are praying for revival. We are praying for revival, of our nation, which we know it has to start in our homes. That
Absolutely.
revival starts in our homes. And so if there was ever a time to, get centered on your role as in your calling as a wife to bless your marriage, I would say, it's now. It's 2025, and I'm remembering to revive and thrive in 2025.
All
So
right.
if you're with me on that, let's
Absolutely. Yeah, I am 100% on you. There's enough lack thinking. Let's get into thriving thinking, what God intended for us to live in. So, all right, everyone. We appreciate you. We love you. God bless you for joining us today. And I pray that you have fruit that comes from this that you can carry with you and share with others and brighten your day. So, are you ready to take the next step? Visit my website, theleaderofyou.com. I'll have it in the link and opportunities for you to thrive with what I offer as well. And certainly connect with Amy. I highly encourage it. Get curious, explore. That's the best place to be in your life. And find out what might be that one thing you just did not know was keeping you from a successful marriage. Till next time, folks, God bless. Goodbye.